what is a marketing communication trend that you think is here to stay? And what is another one that you think is overrated?
Storytelling, growth marketing.
All right. Hold that thought. We'll come back to that question. This is Marketing Over Wine, a podcast where we talk to the marketers behind the companies, strategies, and campaigns you see in the world today. You get to share the strategies and tools they use, how they manage their earnings and price their services, and the mistakes and successes they have made in their career. So whether you're just starting out in marketing and need to learn the ropes, or you're an experienced marketer seeking fresh perspectives, or a business owner looking for insights to boost your brand, you're in the right place. Each episode is an unfiltered masterclass, so come join us. I am your host, Olawumi Olaniyi. Hello and welcome to the Marketing Over Wine podcast. On today's episode, I have with me Esther Felix. Esther is a brand and marketing communication specialist and the founder of the Creators Community, where she helps young creators with brand clarity. Over the years, Esther has worked with brands like Nestige, Zikel Cosmetics, Yellow Life Travels, Net Operations, and many more. Thank you for joining me, Esther.
Thank you. It's great being on here. Hello, everyone. My name is Esther. You can think of me as a creative powerhouse and a marketing badass. T for thanks.
Love that. Succinct and powerful. So let's get on to the mix of it. Your LinkedIn profile says you studied English and literary studies. Yeah. So what exactly drew you to marketing communications, and how did the journey in this field begin?
Okay, so you definitely did your homework on my LinkedIn. As a kid, always going to church in testing ground at Lausa. And I was deeply fascinated by the big billboards from Cadbury, Tom Tom, Coca-Cola. They just had this really fancy billboards. And that time when Mr. Biggs was still there, right? So, and they were the big guys in the industry then. And I would see those billboards and how they would make the product look really exciting. And I would just think of how it would just be better. Like, what if that I was supposed to be italicized? And so that would build my interest in advertising as it were. But I didn't follow through with advertising because, there's this stigma that we don't like to talk about with mass communications and ladies in mass communications. So I actually do love English a whole lot. I am that one person that would study the worst parts of English just because I want to. And, I would build such interest in secondary school. I did study English and literary studies and French. I do have a double honors with French as well.
Okay.
Yes. I don't like to say that because a lot of people, they get to ask you.
Bonjour.
Exactly.
Bonjour.
You just did it. People assume that.
Ça va?
People just assume that, you never studied English because, we are all speaking English, even though we are not speaking English. So I went on to study English and French because I do enjoy, languages. Not anymore, by the way. I think languages are beautiful to be heard and listened to, but never to be learned. Because I had a terrible experience in the Nigerian...
It's mostly the theoretical aspect.
Exactly. The public university space is terrible. Anyways, I started out with English, and I think in 2017, my best friend at the time would tell me, hey, what's up? So there's this brand, a friend of mine is looking for a social media manager. But he didn't even call it a social media manager. He just said, my guy, the 5% will go handle in socials. And I just do the right caption, just the right this thing. If you run out, I was like, yeah, I was already a superstar with social media. I was one of the girls in school that just knew it. And coming from Lagos, being the hip girl, it just made a lot of sense too. And so I would take it on, and I was being paid 20,000 naira.
Wow.
I was a big girl.
I'm guessing that's also your first job. That was your first job in marketing per se.
Well, yeah, actually that was my first job. That I can actually think about. Other time, no, that was my first paid job actually, apart from being a makeup artist, or my first corporate role, right?
Okay.
Or I would like to call makeup artistry business, but you know what it was, modeling, skin influencing, all that stuff. Yeah. So I would eventually go on to become a social media manager for this brand. I didn't even know it was called social media manager until a couple of months after. My offer letter did not also say that it was social media manager because at that time we hadn't quite gotten into the market of social media in Nigeria at the time. And so I would go on to learn more about what I was doing and understand that it meant that I was doing social media management.
Okay.
Now, because I love English, you would tell that I like to do a lot of research, right? And I would say that these are like deeply tied things, and my love for research, my love for work, working on different projects kind of puts me to that point. And soon I began to understand the intricacies of social media management. And I went on to do a lot of things with that. I would begin to start explaining to people how you would not just manage some social media randomly. And soon I started doing social media strategy, which is still the love of my life till now. Right, I love social media strategy, honestly, because I can tell you why this is not working. Even though Mark Zuckerberg and Mr. Elon have been moving mad with us, but generally social media has always been my strong point.
Yeah.
And so here I moved on from being a social media manager, or rather a caption writer, to social media manager to social media strategist, and then I worked in an advertising firm for a couple of months as a content creator. And so I was that video girl, because I could do the vox pop and a bit of all of that, interview sessions and presentations, and I was enjoying it because I love to talk. Oh goodness gracious, I love to talk. And so we went on from that and said, okay, we'll have to get serious with our life, and I started doing media buying and planning. I don't know a lot of that because I didn't get great experience with that, but I touched base with it, and I did a bit of branding. Now I fell in love with branding. Like, I love it so much. And so I was like, okay, how can we mix branding and, social media branding strategy and all of that? And soon I understood that all of my experiences, to cut the whole long story short, all my
don't worry about cutting any long story short. We love the stories. We would like to hear the stories.
Oh, okay. So anyways, I did a bit of marketing. Oh, and all of these times I was also a brand ambassador for beauty and a skincare brand. So obviously I was gaining experience with that.
Zico Cosmetics?
Yes. And then Zize Organics then as the skincare brand. So I was gaining a lot of momentum with users and project management. And soon I started out the Face of Zikel International. So whenever I hear Face of Zikel International, just remember that Topaz Esther was the foreground girl. And it's been 5 years already. We have the 50th edition in December. It's been an amazing one, right? And so I've been with the brand for a long time. I moved up from just being a student ambassador to a brand with, I would help distributors understand the product better in the eastern part of Nigeria.
Yeah.
And then I became the student ambassador head, and we try to get student ambassadors for the brand across Nigeria and, a little into West Africa. Managed their social media for a while. Started the whole pageant thing. I became a pageant girl by extension. By association, right? And just a bit of all of that stuff. And I was gaining momentum, right? Understanding how brands and PR and corporate would work. And I understood that I wasn't going to work for SMEs. I loved corporate. I loved the thrill of the pipelines. I loved it. I don't quite understand why a small business would want to, invest in me as a corporate person. I mean, I've always loved being the corporate girl from a young childhood because I love looking at my dad and that whole trail of suits, car, So here I did all of that, and then in 2021 I decided to take on a marketing degree. So I took the marketing degree, the Chartered Institute of Marketing UK degree, and I am. Before, Zico Cosmetics, obviously I have worked with fashion brands. I worked with one of the foremost fashion magazines in Nigeria, did a bit of media and film, and then went to tech, and I am leaving tech. Yeah.
You're leaving tech?
Yeah. I don't think tech is a sustainable way to grow for me. So yeah, so far it will be a lot of questions as to industry to industry, because I did have that question 2 days back. Why are you jumping from industry to industry? Because I want to be a badass. Anyways, I actually do enjoy the trail of all of this. And so yeah, that's how I became or understood that brands and communications in marketing is one of the things I want to put at the forefront of my execution or communication pattern as a career person. So here I am doing brand communications marketing.
Here you are.
I spent like how many minutes explaining that?
No, that's amazing actually. I love this. Do more of that. Based on what you've said, you've been a lot of things over the years. You've been a social media manager. You've been someone who basically posts on social media.
Social media poster.
Yeah, social media poster. You've been a film girl. You've been all of this, and now you are in brand and marketing communication communications. But what exactly would you say is marketing communications? What does it entail? How would you even explain this to, let's say, a 5-year-old, or in layman terms?
Essentially, as a brand communications manager, what I would do is be responsible for leading the communications team. So internal communications, external communications, advertisements, point of sale, partnerships, relationships, marketing, after sale.
PRs?
Not necessarily PR, but if PR had another word that was professional, but if PR had another word that was professional and more with a pipeline of structure than what we see PR as, right? Then it'll be brand communications. So, for instance, Trace Nigeria or Trace Africa is looking to host an event for Gen Zs. Now, they'll obviously bring it to the brand communications marketer or the brand communications manager and say, okay, what's up? What do we do with this? Now, the first thing you're responsible for is thinking about the partnerships that would make the most sense for the brand. And when you think of those partnerships, you're going to have to collaborate or look to reach out to these guys and establish structures that benefit both brands, right? And now you also understand with the side of marketing that your KPIs are so important and you have to meet up these KPIs at different points. So if you're saying we want 10,000 users after this event, how are we able to reach 10,000 users with the partnerships in view and the event place we're going to use? So I like to think that the brand communications marketer can be anything at any time. You could be an event manager all of a sudden. If you are in that industry, you could be a point of sales person. So if you meet a brand communications marketer, say at a tech conference, we are the one that will break down the product to the most way you can use it as a business, as a brand, or as a student. Basically, you're supposed to understand the brand like the mark on your palm and communicate it like the person needs it or depends on it. Basically, communicating a brand as a painkiller than a vitamin. Right. So I don't want to think of your brand as just another brand. I want to be able to think of it as the only solution to this particular problem. So I'm solution-based marketing or solution to user-based. I don't know. I just came up with that one. Relationship marketing in that sense. And I think that breaks it down. So if you're thinking of becoming a brand communications marketer, you would obviously have to understand leveraging relationships, communicating as if your life depends on it, and breaking down the most difficult conversations to the barest minimum.
Thank you for that. Does storytelling play a role in your job as a brand and marketing communications manager?
Yeah, actually, yes. Storytelling is everything you need in marketing. Everything you need from point A to Z. There has to be a connection. Why is there B, C, D, E, F before G, H, I, right? Just let's think of a random product. Let's walk this together. I like to dissect marketing in the most way. So think of random products.
Okay, let's say a startup launching a product, a B2B product, B2B fintech product for businesses. The product has everything they need as a business owner. Okay,
so maybe let's say when we think B2B, we think maybe one of this or these financial platforms that ensure security for loan apps.
That's an example.
Exactly. Let's take the wildest one that somebody might probably not think of. Now, as a brand communications marketer in this sense, your business is not with people. Your business is with the stakeholders in the company. So now, why do you need my products? My product is supposed to help you bring security. Now, there are a lot of companies, because obviously before I create a loan app, I should have thought of security to a reasonable extent. And so that means that if you are guaranteeing me security, I should have an upper hand, or you should have an upper hand rather. So how I'm able to break this, I don't just come and say, come and buy my product. Who are you? What makes you so special, right? I should be able to make the product the most likable way. And the most likable and most relatable way is through storytelling. I think Money Africa, for instance, they have an excellent way of telling stories with the users in perspective. Money Africa has since been a B2B brand, was recently moved to a B2C brand, and it meant that they would have to intentionally tell certain stories in different patterns, right? And that's not MONEY, but MONI. And I think that they have a great storytelling technique with bringing the most realistic things to you. We shy away from conversations around money, so how about bring the most uncomfortable, comfortable conversations to bring us back to money? And I think that that's a great way to tell stories. So if you're working for a B2B brand, you would mostly want to tell stories that trigger the stakeholders than just, random consumers in this case. Storytelling is that guy. And I'll be honest to say that I didn't quite figure out storytelling. I think I need to say this so that people can actually learn and understand that a lot of the big words we use in marketing, but I didn't quite figure out storytelling because I thought that everybody was telling stories, but they were not telling stories. I don't know if it makes sense.
I think it does.
Like they were telling stories, but they were not telling stories. Until I started reading and understanding that everything that we do on social media is actually storytelling. If we are trying to create and connect. And then I was like, okay, so when you make a post, you are trying to, what's your goal for that post as an individual? Like, I'm trying to post a selfie. What's the goal?
Proof of life.
Yeah, no, proof of life. Nice one. The only people who can relate to that image other than, that's a fine woman, is the people who already know me. And the reason they know me is because I've created a pattern in their head that builds a story. So you have to build patterns to actually tell great stories, and great stories have a beginning and almost no end.
True.
If you're being honest, because it's a continuous system. I like to think of it that way. I mean, people will share a different opinion, but that's how I think about it. When you tell great stories, you are so roped in that I could bring in a thought pattern from the previous conversation to leverage on the existing one. Think about blogs, and I'm not talking Instablog Niger and the other ones. I'm talking about personality-driven blogs. The only reason you follow through these guys, even when they are anonymous, is because you feel like you can connect to them, and that's because they've told stories.
Great stories.
Exactly. Now, Career Body has a very great storytelling. I give it up to their content team, to be honest.
Yeah.
Workaholic as well. They do great stuff. And even funnily, Yaba Left Online does a bit of storytelling with their captions, and I think people don't notice it. So people come in the comment section and say, oh, Yaba Left's gender has changed today. It's not female, it's male.
Yeah.
Because they say stuff. They maybe post a video of some girl dancing on TikTok, and it's like, oh, they no go feel run out for me. If you want to know, my last boyfriend did this, and then you've created an image of the person behind the post, and then you're like, oh, that person is definitely a female. And the next day you say, oh, more now me and my boys run this thing. I'm like, okay, what are you exactly? Are you a female? Are you a male? And then you're able to build like a perception, a character of this person, and that's what we do when we see posts. I could tell that the person who is handling a particular post is feminine or masculine by their feedback and responses. But nowadays, I almost cannot tell because it's great storytelling. Because you can swear that it's a male that's handling this page, but the moment you see it is some girl, and they're like, oh my goodness. So that's been embodying personality through storytelling. Like you're able to create a fiction or a fictive character in people's heads.
Thank you so much for that in-depth analysis.
I'm giving masterclass.
To be honest, that's what this is all about. Marketing Over Wine is a masterclass given by different marketing professionals, and the one for today is Esther Felix. So yes, thank you for that.
Thanks, boss.
I think the part that stands out for me is when you said great storytelling essentially has no end. It is continuity.
You can always build up on it.
Yeah, that stands out for me.
Oh, thank you.
So how do you ensure consistent messaging and tone across different marketing channels for your brand?
I've said it already. Embodying a personality. So when people join a team, I'll start from a team perspective. If you want one person telling a story, it's easier. You could switch on and off a character. But when you have different people on a team, you need them to understand where and why. And you need them to also become a part of the character. For instance, I had a friend tell me yesterday actually, oh, I saw the video that this page has been creating for a while. I know it wasn't you creating. I was like, what do you mean? How do you mean? Like, yeah, I know you haven't been the one creating the videos. I was like, why? He's like, because the videos are not videoing. And I'm like, that's supposed to be a compliment, but I didn't take it as a compliment because it meant that I had a team structure problem. It meant that they were not telling the same stories that I was going to tell.
Okay.
It should never feel like there's a different person handling the social media, handling the emails. Like I get mails from Sheye from Career Body, and I can swear that Sheye was the one that made that Instagram post yesterday. The same energy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm using these guys because they are the ones that we can maybe take a backtrack on together. So you could say, I'm getting a mail from Providence Bank, and I'm like, Oh, goodness gracious. If I got an email from Chicken Republic, I can swear that you'll be as cheesy as their Twitter is. And I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Right. So that there is no gap and there is no feeling of there's a different person is what I think your communication pattern should feel like. I mean, in the most basic way.
Yeah.
So you could get great acquisition but low retention.
Yeah.
Everybody jumping on your app or jumping on your platform or jumping on your product, but they don't stay, apart from the fact that your product may be bad in itself. Because guess what? Great communications keeps a user who even knows that the brand product is terrible. They keep waiting and being patient for more. They would be ready to say, oh, have you tried this? Oh, I think you should try this. And they are really, really great and open to giving suggestions just because they feel treated nicely. And everybody wants to feel special.
Definitely.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but everybody wants to feel like they are your only customer. You have no time for every other person but them. And sorry, customer service representatives, you all need to do better a whole lot, because you are the face of the brand at so many times. And if you're not communicating what the brand is saying, then you are literally the problem.
I had a conversation with an MTN core representative, and I did a data subscription for 50,000, and I was trying to explain, I was the one explaining to this core representative that when I recharge from MTN mobile application,
my MTN
they give me a 15% bonus before I recharge from MTN mobile application. And annoyingly, the core representative did not know about that bonus.
Yeah, it has happened with me.
And I guess that's the same issue many brands have, is that, one, you talked about personality.
There's no proper communication pipeline.
Yeah, you also talked about communication. It's that amongst everyone who has to deal directly with customers, whether it's the brand communications manager or the customer support representative, there should be a sort of communication in-house and an understanding of the product that helps them know how to then relate the messaging to customers out there.
Exactly.
And I guess that's where many brands keep missing it. There is friction in-house. Because of that, customer representative does not know what the product does, different information on social media, and everyone is passing a wrong message or an entirely different message to customers.
Exactly. I don't know if you've seen that meme where someone says product marketer, product manager, and then the dev guy.
Yeah.
So the product marketer says we have cashback feature or something like that, and then the product manager is like, we are going to implement cashback feature, and then the developer is like, we have a cashback feature. Like, I'm supposed to develop that. I didn't know that. But it's because, like, there's no proper structure to this communication.
Yeah.
And it's not just a Nigerian thing. I have come to understand, if there's no value placed to communication, you would find it a struggle every time. I think we can do better a whole lot. We can stop keeping people in isolation. Let them understand what they are doing and do that with love.
Definitely.
Yeah, please do that with love. Let people know that, okay, they are valued and you need them to value your customers as well. Because I think that's where the point is, right? That there's no loophole in your entire communication pattern. Check any brand you really love right now. It's not their products that you love. You might like the functionality of the products for you, but the experience that has been communicated from top bottom is usually the goal killer. And I think that's the essential work for the brand communications person in any company. So hire a brand communications person that understands work.
Definitely. Now, at the beginning of the call, you mentioned that your first corporate role paid you 20,000. Since getting into marketing fully, what is the most you have earned on, let's say, a gig or a full-time role, part-time role, contract role, or a project? What is the most you have earned since getting fully into marketing?
You're entering into my privacy.
I know.
Okay, so let's say I think I've gotten at least 200% more than
the initial corporate
what
one.
am I saying? Just trying to think about it. So I think that 500,000 is the most. I'm still a broke marketing babe.
God, I want to be a baller. I don't want to be a mechanic.
Please, go and start generator, please.
All right, that's beautiful. That's a lot of growth, and it's amazing to see based on where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's been since 2017 till now. It still feels stunted, by the way. I feel like I could do a lot better. But guess what? I think another thing to say is that you could make like a whole lot in a month, like in running in 700, 800, 900 from like different things, but almost stick to 200k the next month. It's a hard work life for us.
Yeah, especially if you're a freelancer. Hypothetical situation. A brand hires you to manage the brand's message communication, and they tell you to basically give concise messaging, like there's this idea of the kind of brand they are supposed to be, but you're a very creative person. How do you balance the need for clear, concise messaging with the desire to be creative and engaging?
I think the first thing that jumped out of my mouth before you finished talking was, "Look, wait, copywriter, me, she copywriter, go, your copywriter, man." But it's my everyday life. I like to write. I like to explain. Like Shalaye is my best friend. So asking me to create down 5 words, make it creative. You can't eat your cake and have it. It's either it's short or it's not creative. That's it in my head, right?
Yeah.
It's always a struggle, and thankfully one of the things I do depend on is Holy Spirit for inspiration, right? Because some days it don't come. It don't come. Other days it can be flowing like a river, right? But other days you just know that okay, it's a struggle. I don't think my best friend is suited in copywriting.
Okay.
I mean, short form copywriting, because I think that there are also long forms and I do well with that.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, but breaking down that whole, I even struggle with the summary in secondary school. That should tell you a lot of things. I like to shalaye. I know words and opposites, and I know how to use a lot of adjectives. So, keeping it the most concise. I'm thankful for the apps that we have, the tools that we use, in marketing to help us walk through things and see different perspectives.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I use at this time to, break it down. It's an everyday struggle for me. It's like, oh my God, he's asking me my life every day. Because they're like, okay, shorten this thing to 150 characters or less. Why you like this? Why you like this? I'm not having an interview and they said 200 words. By the time I wanted to start correcting, I was already on 500 words. That's okay, great. So we're going to have to divide into 2. Another half. Nah, can't be me, man. It's a struggle. I'm hoping to do better. I don't think I'm the best suit with that, like I said, and make stuff better, but it's a real life struggle. Or if something I'm already very, very conversant with. Yeah. So you could tell me fashion, I could give you stuff from the tip of my fingers right now. Tell me beauty, I could give you from the tip of my fingers.
Okay, that brings me to my next question. What are some automation tools that you use as part of your workflow?
I think everybody knows at this point that ChatGPT is your friend, but automation tools would start with, I love HubSpot. It's a hub for a lot of information, right? I love it. I do enjoy the benefits of HubSpot. I'm Google's best friend. I search the weirdest and the most unimportant things, or things that don't make sense. I'm trying to make it make sense, and I think that Google is great for learning behavioral patterns and following suit. Another thing I do is automation with emails. SendGrid. It's a great tool. A lot of people don't know it, but it's a very great tool, and it doesn't allow access for everybody, so that's a bit weird, but it's a really great tool. Like, you could do your automations, you could do your drip campaigns for email marketing. Another thing I enjoy is email marketing, by the way. So like, you could just enjoy the entire process with SendGrid. For automations again, to automate, I love CapCut because I did a lot of videos, and those automations with captions make life quite easy for me. Another thing I use is Adobe Studio for voice, recordings. But with writings and emails, I use a lot of existing Google tools. Google Docs is my best friend.
Definitely.
Yeah, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. Yes, very, very important for me.
Speaking of trends, what is a marketing communication trend that you think is here to stay? And what is another one that you think is overrated?
Storytelling, growth marketing.
All right. Hold that thought. We'll come back to that question.
Are you sure what time I've not passed?
We'll come back to that question. How do you think the marketing industry will evolve over the next 5 to 10 years?
There'll be a lot of AIs, but I think after 5 years or before the end of 5 years, there'll be a drop in AIs as well.
Okay.
Because now you need human touch and humanity.
Touch, human-centered.
Exactly. And if that's the essence of marketing, to be that humanness. And so if you don't have it, it will just fall back to people who know how to communicate better.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self one piece of marketing advice, what would it be?
Have a mentor.
Have a mentor. Okay.
Document your process.
All right.
And go for more events. Speak to people. this is personal shit.
Yeah, it's personal for you.
Yes. But yeah, it's most important to have a mentor that, not necessarily that you would directly give feedback to, but somebody who is in the space that is interested in you and can always give you feedback. Another thing is document your process, as little as it is.
Yeah.
Every single thing. It gives for thankfulness. It also gives for you to enjoy your days of drought because you see how much growth you've actually done.
Yeah.
And for the times when people try to underpay you, remember that you're a badass.
This deserves a standing ovation. Amazing. So back to the question I ran away from the other time.
Let's not do this.
Now, I know before this call, we have talked about some roles in marketing as being a subset of other roles. And now you just shot a shot at growth marketing.
So, I've never been a fan of multiple roles, of one person doing a lot of roles. I've also not been a fan of duplicating roles.
Okay.
If you have a marketing manager with quite the experience in your company, you do not need a growth marketer. I think I need to say that.
Okay.
The only reason you should have a marketer in your space is acquisition, retention, and growth.
Okay.
Right? So, if you now have an acquisition manager, it makes a lot of sense. Retention manager makes a lot of sense. There's somebody who reports to them. I mean, if you have the facilities and the resources, by all means. But hiring a growth marketer just because you expect growth is, anyways, you know what I want to say.
I don't know what you want to say.
It's not you. I'm saying the person that is listening. I know you know that because the essential role for marketing is growth. So why say you're hiring a growth?
When you already have a content marketer, a digital marketer, and a marketing manager.
Like content marketer, yes. Everybody's driving towards what goal.
Right.
So what exactly are you saying that the growth marketer is responsible for this? I mean, we like fancy words in marketing, so maybe that's what the thing is, right? The fancifulness of those words. But in actual sense, I don't think that anybody should have duplicated roles. In your company, a growth marketer might be the best guy for whatever product you are trying to sell at that time and the force as to which you want to get traction. But making it a staple is what I don't quite understand. So I think everybody should just know better and do your research before hiring the next person. And I think this also comes from the place of let me not do this.
Please do it.
This also comes from the place of HRs and LinkedIn. So you toot your horn as a growth marketer. I mean, this is an assumption that I think that has this backing. You toot your horn as a growth focused marketer, and then the HR says that we need a growth focus. It's now a new word in marketing space. I don't know how to put that thing. We need somebody that could actually draw our numbers for us, or the CEO in tech. I'm actually talking about tech startups in this case, not other companies. Yeah. I don't have the experience to leverage off that. And then they have these conversations, and then you are like, okay, so you're hiring a growth marketer, but you're also hiring a marketer to do what? One is doing campaign, one is doing what? Make it make sense. So I think it's good to note that the primary responsibility of any marketer in your company is growth. Acquisition, growth, retention, all of them are still under the tree of growth. So if you think that you want to hire a growth marketer, then that should be your, marketing guy, not even sales. Like that should be your marketing manager, marketing executive, marketing associate. But to hire a marketing associate, marketing executive, marketing manager, and hire a growth manager, it is well.
Now, quick question. When you say a marketing manager, usually what we see marketing managers do is more or less like the CEO of the marketing department. So they'll assign responsibilities to...
Oh, let me break down. I like this kind of question.
All right, go ahead.
So lovers, we understand what the job description of a marketing manager is. You're supposed to promote products and services, develop and implement marketing and pricing strategies, plans and projects, conduct marketing research and analysis of customers' needs, industry trends, generate new business leads, oversee marketing department staff, marketing management, marketing budget, ensure brand identity, track and analyze do you see all of these things? These are like individual roles if you do break them down, right? right?
Yeah.
But as a marketing manager, you should have the skill set to be able to do this individually and to train your team members to, replicate. But if you are saying that you need a growth marketer, what exactly would a growth marketer do differently from developing and implementing marketing strategies, which is the full goal of your marketing manager? Do you understand? I mean, it's open to conversations, open to debate.
Yeah, this is a very long topic. There's this conversation on Twitter almost every now and then.
Full moon.
Yeah.
I think it's everybody just trying to fight for their butter and their bread. If I became a growth marketer, to me, I'll probably say the same thing. What do you mean? Do you know the work we do as growth marketer? Okay, potato.
All right, away from all of that, if you could have a glass of wine with any marketing professional, past or present, who would it be and why?
Okay, Charles CD. I love how he thinks. Love it.
Okay.
He has a very strategic and playful way of addressing marketing. So I think I would definitely want to have a conversation with him and see perspectives. I think it would be something expository.
A different perspective.
Yeah, like, why do brands do this? Oh, so I think I have this opinion. And then he says, well, this is the reason your opinion is being formed. That's why you're a veteran. Yeah, definitely Charles CD.
All right then. Again, looking back, what mistakes did you make along your career journey and what lessons did you learn from them?
Everything I mistake. Everything you see one kind of shake or the other. But I think one of the mistakes I make is procrastinating. Because you will do it in under 6 hours.
True.
But you will wait till the entire week is over for you to do it. Right. Another mistake I did make is at some point I stopped reading and researching because I was too confident. And that obviously plays a terrible role in the long run. So yeah, I do regret that. And again, I do regret not going for certain events. But to be honest, I'm just fine where I am because this Lagos is not for the weak. It's not for the weak. No. Kama paro, kama jolly. But it's not for the weak. By the way, guys, I'm an Igbo girl. Get me speaking Yoruba because my foundational years were in Lagos. My adulthood shege experience also in Lagos.
Where can we go to know more about Esther?
You can check out my social media, in fact, just Google the Topaz brand and everything you see there is me.
Okay, the Topaz brand.
Yeah.
All right then. Let me ask one last question. Where do you see yourself going forward in your career? What is the next step for the Topaz brand?
I'll be doing a lot of collaborations and I'll be teaching a lot.
Looking forward to seeing more of your collaborations and more of your teachings.
Oh, I do have a course coming up on brand communications.
Oh, amazing.
If you think that after listening to this stuff, you think that you want the fathers to teach you, it's going to be a video course and you'll give you the breakdown of how to start up in brand communications as a career path.
Okay.
It's quite an investment of what you need to know.
All right. Looking forward to it and keep your eyes on the Topaz brand everywhere on social media. That will be Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn.
All right then. Thank you so much for this conversation, Esther. Thank you for your time, your honesty, transparency, all the EC and ETs. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much for the conversation. I did enjoy it. And I'm looking forward to listening to this because I think it will be so much insight for myself.
I think so too.
Bye!
Have a lovely day ahead. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Marketing Over Wine. To listen to more career stories or marketing professionals around the world, subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or any podcast app of your choice. Or simply visit marketingoverwine.com to stay up to date.